Film fans of YouTube, hello and welcome back to the channel. I am Josh, the movie apprentice, and today it is the end of May, which means it is time once again for my tier list for the movies I watched in May. Let's quickly jump into the tiers before I go into the 14 films I watched in May 2025. So obviously, must-see cinema. These are the films that I feel like you're a film fan, you must see these movies. Physical purchase, I would happily own these as a physical Blu-ray or 4K disc. Glad I watched are films that I think are good, but the chances of me watching them again are very minute. Worth a stream are those fun, disposable, background noise kind of movies. Not for me. Are films that I personally did not enjoy, however, I can see why others might like them. And there's the do not watch, those films that you shouldn't really waste your time with. So we're going to jump straight into this with A Widow's Game that just came out on Netflix on May 30th. The depiction of a real life case in which a man is murdered and his widow is the prime suspect, but they are sure they got someone else to do it for them. And it tells that story in an interesting way, showing us the detective side of things before shifting to the perspective of the widow and everything that led up to the murder of the husband, followed by everything thereafter that follows the true events. This is one that I would say is definitely worth a stream. It does have more potential than what it gives, but I found myself very entertained by this one. The latter half, particularly, was the most engaging aspect of it, and I enjoyed the final conversation between the maid, police officer, and the widow. Jumping into the next one, another simple favor. So I was literally made to watch this back to back by my partner. A Simple Favor I thought was a decent movie. This one, well, where A Simple Favor played it straight and now with a hint of chaos and humor in there, this one went all out on the sexual tension between the two lead characters and really lent into the comedic aspect of it, which as a result meant that any tension and stakes and mystique within the film was gone and was very predictable from the get-go. Another Simple Favor is not for me because it's just such a downgrade on that first movie. And I'm going to say the exact same for Fear Street Prom Queen. Now, Fear Street, that trilogy is a solid trilogy. It's enjoyable, it's well connected. And then we have Prom Queen here, which is slammed straight into the middle in between 78 and 94, set in 88, I believe this one, 88 or 89. And there's no witch's curse in this one. There's no one really going crazy in this one. It is very lackluster. Everyone's a cardboard cutout. It was literally like watching bits of paper getting stabbed. Any character that had a slight bit of development would be killed off rapidly. And the only interesting character doesn't get a whole lot of time to shine. This might be the weakest film I watched in May of 2025. And then we go into Lost in Style, which also came out the other day on Netflix. And this is one that I can happily say is well worth your time. I am obviously a sucker for Asian cinema, especially the animation side of things. But this story of a woman who wants to follow in her mum's footsteps and make it to the next expedition to Mars to help set up a colony there, begins to fall in love with this musician that's held himself back by walking away when things got tough. It was a really good watch. I love the romance. It felt very natural, very realistic. This near future felt very close to what realistically I could assume humanity can achieve with the technology they depict. It stays grounded in the modern day, but heightening it by about 200%. It does go a bit heavy handed in the emotional elements in the last 20 minutes. It felt like every part of the last 20 minutes was designed to try and get you weeping into a ball. And after a good 5 minutes of it and a couple of scenes of it, you kind of feel a bit disillusioned to it, which is why it doesn't quite get a perfect score for me. But it's definitely one that, should Netflix choose to, I would happily own Lost in Starlight. Physically, I thought it was really good. Ocean with David Attenborough is must-see cinema for me. It's a documentary. It's David Attenborough culminating a lot of his life into the preservation of the ocean. It's made me aware of an important meeting that the UN's going to have in June. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on that. This is a very great depiction on the industrialization of fishing as well as just the beauty of the sea and just how much down there we just really don't know about. It really puts the part of the world it makes up most of our world and how little we know about and how much we are discovering almost daily at this point. You can feel that David Attenborough is content with the work he's done there. This is to be his finale before he will eventually depart this world. I thought this is a fantastic send off for him. Then we had the Phoenician Scheme, the new Wes Anderson movie. This one, it's worth a stream, I would say. Unfortunately, with Wes Anderson, I like his movies. If you love his movies, then you're gonna like this. If you're a hater of his movies, you're gonna hate this one. As someone that likes his movies, they are very repetitive. It's framing, it's bright color palettes, it's dialogue that is very exploratory but delivered with wit from the characters. I enjoyed it. It was entertaining enough, but it doesn't live up to the peaks of Fantastic Mr. Fox, Isle of Dogs, and honestly, with Wes Anderson, it feels like the last few films can be very interchangeable. And compared to his last few films, this one feels like it's been on the weaker side. Though seeing Bryan Cranston and Tom Hanks showing trick shots in basketball was at least worth the price of admission. Now, The Salt Path, Julian Anderson and Jason Isaacs really make this film. It's an adaptation of a memoir that fully utilizes its setting. It really exposes just how beautiful the coastal scenery is and how this film about walking manages to not drag purely by us introducing characters that could at times be comedic moments and at times be very serious moments. I thought this was a really good movie, a very well done movie. Gillian Anderson is the best part of the first half, and Jason Isaacs really takes charge in the latter half of this movie. I feel like this was a very good watch, and considering how busy the screen was that I went into for this one, feels like this book is quite popular as well, and it does sound like people were satisfied with it. I'm glad I watched it. Will I know I'm ready to watch it again? I don't know. Maybe one day, but it's not on the top of my list. Thunderbolts, I will say, is a physical purchase for me. It doesn't quite hit the musty cinema side of things, but I would say that Thunderbolts is a big return to form for the MCU. And ain't it funny every time someone says that a film's going to be disposable in the MCU, it ends up being a banger. I don't think it's the best one since Endgame, like a lot of people are saying. I still think Guardians 3 and Shang-Chi are better movies. But this one is literally depression depicted, and the young learners can experience that dread, the bad advice, and how it takes other people to pull you out of it. I would have liked a little bit more from the movie. I would have loved to have seen the the rooms of dread that the other characters would have definitely saw in that final act. I did love the twist at the end, how they are the new Avengers, and that's going to tie into next Avengers movie. I thought Thunderbolts works very well on its own legs, but also has a nice setup to what's coming up next in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And then we have The Wedding Banquet. This is, I'm going to put it worth a stream. It's a remake, and unfortunately, this is one that I really wanted to review, but I couldn't, in my right mind, review it purely because I never complain about people in the cinema to the staff because they really can't do much. But I'm in a theater, and there's 6 people total in this theater. And it's like a small screen, 7 rows, I think, and there's these 2 women that walk in literally as the film's starting, and it's always, have you ever noticed, it's always the people that walk in either a couple of minutes late or literally as the film's starting that are always the disruptive ones. It was 2 middle-aged women that just talked constantly throughout the film to the point where I heard them over the dialogue on the screen most of the time because there's not much score in this movie. It's mainly dialogue driven, and they just took me out of the movie completely. I had to walk out the screen and complain about them. Fortunately, nothing was done, but what more can you do? It was one of those where I knew that the intrusive thoughts win, is all I'm going to say about it. And in terms of the movie itself, it seemed like there was a lot of good stuff in there, but the fact that it was marketed as a comedy, I don't recall laughing too much in this one. And there's one narrative point it takes where these 2 characters that are established as gay hook up, and established they did it before, but I don't know, even your drunkest state, I mean, LGBTQ plus community, like, do let me know if I'm wrong in this assumption, but I feel like once you are true to yourself and you know what you are on a sexuality basis, you tend to not stray to the other side. I do not buy that someone that is completely confident about being gay and someone that's completely confident about being lesbian would hook up even if they are distraught. And that is something that forces a plot point. I don't think that works very well for the film. It's worth a stream, I would say, because the performances are good and I felt there are some great emotional moments in there. But unfortunately, I was not able to enjoy the movie as much as I wanted to, and it's one that I will watch at some point. Lilo and Stitch, I am glad I watched this one. It goes below the soul path. There's been a lot of complaints about the nanny stuff. I expressed my thoughts on that shenanigan in my review at the very end. All I'm going to say is I prefer the original, but this one does deliver a different take and a different look at the source material. And that's what a Disney remake should really do. Not tell us the exact same story, but tell us something fresh and unique. Then Final Destination Bloodlines, this is going on that top I'm glad I watched. These are films I don't really go back to that much. This is probably my second favorite Final Destination film. The fact it gave us that family aspect really helps connect with the characters a lot more than we have done for a lot of the casts in this franchise. Some of the kills are great, and this is worth watching purely for the Tony Todd final scene. It's such an emotional scene, and it was very much a case of they said to Tony Todd, just say what you want to say to the fans in this shot. And that was it. That's Tony Todd. Gone now, but good Lord, what a way to exit cinema for good. And then Karate Kid Legends. This is, again, I'm going to put it worth a stream. It's one that I enjoyed, but it also has a lot of flaws in terms of its pacing, its overcrowdedness, its editing, but the chemistry between the characters and just the comedy as well. That worked for me. It's a fine sequel to a franchise that has been consistently fine for me. I've never been the biggest fan of Karate Kid. And for me, this was an okay movie. Hollow Road, must see cinema. This is a film that I did not expect to love as much as I did. A completely independent film with hardly any showings, following a married couple in a race against time to find their daughter trapped on a distant road before they can be discovered by the police or something more sinister. The dialogue is very good in this. The performances, both on screen and voiceover, are phenomenal. This is one that has left me tense and anxious for the entire runtime. It's a perfectly executed movie to a very simple concept. Hollow Road is by far one of my favorites of the year so far, possibly the best of the year, but you have to wait until the end of the year for my list. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is going top of Glad I Watched. It's a Mission Impossible film that feels like it doesn't deliver as much as the previous ones have, especially the last couple, but it's still a fantastic cinematic experience. It just feels like a couple of steps back from the previous one. There was definitely a massive Rebecca Ferguson shaped hole in this one, and the choice to, spoiler alert, kill off Ving Rhames in the early stages as well means that it effectively just feels devoid of a lot of the heart of the team. There are some threads that feel devoid of any development, like Paris is determined to kill Gabriel. That never gets fleshed out. The entity that feels like they knew every one of Tom Cruise's moves in the previous one doesn't really intervene at all in this one. And it's a lot of Tom Cruise doing all the work while the rest of the team are just kind of there. I don't know. I just feel like previous Mission Impossible films have been better than this one. Though I was entertained by it, and that is what Tom Cruise aims to do, is to entertain us all. But that's it. That is my May movies released in 2025 that I have watched. I still have The Ritual and The Ballad of the Wallace Island to watch from this month as well. But as we're at the end of the month, I ain't got more time. This is the list, and those two will go into next month's tier list once I have watched them. Let me know what your favorite movies of this month were, and make sure you subscribe and click on the like button for more video reviews, rankings, tier lists, and the occasional video essay coming all the time. But until next time, everybody, I am Josh, I have been Movie Apprentice, and I'll see you all in the next video.